I'm Daniel. I am content creator and instructor at Clarusway. Today we will talk about Settimeout, JavaScript function, and HTML DOM. In this video we will use a main CSS file for our division and for our inputs, as you've seen. And I will create a HTML page, DOM.html, and I will use boilerplate for creating my HTML page. In this page, I will use a form, and I will use elements, inputs inside of form, and together we will reach our elements and components properties with using of DOM method. Let's talk about Settimeout function. As you know, Settimeout executes a function after waiting a specified number of milliseconds, and it takes two parameters. The first parameter is a function to be executed, and the second parameter indicates the number of milliseconds before execution. We will see on page. And now let's talk about HTML DOM. The HTML DOM is an abbreviation of document object model, and it defines HTML elements as objects, and properties, methods, and events can be reached from DOM side with DOM function with the using of JavaScript. I create one label and two inputs inside of my form, and I will add class to my division components, and I will use a button for start my Settimeout function. And inside of our Settimeout function, we will try to reach our inputs properties. For reaching our elements in JavaScript site, we will use ID and class and name and finally tag name. And when we are doing this, especially we will use Settimeout functions inside of our Settimeout function on button click. And now button on click function, and our function will be inside of Settimeout, and our function will be executed after waiting a second. Our function name will be get DOM elements, and as second parameter I will add 1000 milliseconds, means that a second. Now let's code our JavaScript function inside of script tag. Function get DOM elements, and inside of our JavaScript function we will reach our elements, and we will reach our inputs property with using timeouts, and especially with using of HTML DOM methods. I will write with arrow function You can write whatever you want. Firstly, in the first console log, I will use the reaching type get by ID, and in second console log, I will write our DOM method for reaching and finding HTML elements. In the first setTimeout section, I will use document.getElements by ID. Inside of parentheses, I will add name ID. For the first setTimeout section, our waiting time will be 2000 milliseconds. Now I will copy and paste for our next HTML reaching method. We will use get by class name document.getElements by class name, and parameter will be our inputs class, and our waiting time will be 4000 milliseconds. And third one will be get by name, and we will use document.getElements by name method, and parameter will be our comp name, and waiting time for this section will be 6000 milliseconds. And next one will be get by tag name, document.getElements by tag name, and our tag name is input. I will write input. Waiting time will be 8 seconds. And next one will be a query selector, and waiting time will be 10 seconds. Get by query selector, and we will use document.querySelector method, and inside of parentheses, firstly we will add dias, and we will add our elements ID. Okay, and additionally we can use our inputs class name inside of document.querySelector DOM method. Let's do it together. I will add one more setTimeout section, and get query selector all. For parameter, we can use our class name with using of dot before class name. Let's look at our HTML page together from beginning to end. Firstly, we created a form, and inside of the form we have a label and two inputs, and we added our setTimeout function on click, and we used our DOM methods get elements by ID, get elements by class name, get elements by name, get elements by tag name, query selector, and query selector all. Let's run our code and let's see. We are seeing our form body on screen, and inspect console, and I will start my setTimeout, and we will see get by ID, get by class name, get by name, get by tag name, get query selector, and get query selector all. Get by ID, you can see the inputs. In class name function returns HTML collection. Get by name function returns not list, get by tag name returns HTML collection, and inside of collection you can see query selector, same get by ID as you seen, get selector all returns not list, and inside of list or collection or elements you can reach properties of our elements or our components, whatever you want or whatever you need, we can reach and we can find. Thanks for listening to me. Have a nice coding day. See you on next video.